Kazakhstan covers 2.7 million square kilometres. The 9th largest country on Earth, yet most people cannot name a single city. 20 million spread across land bigger than Western Europe. Landlocked between Russia and China. It never entered the world's attention. Over 130 ethnic groups, many deported here by Stalin. 7 climate zones, from singing dunes to chalk cliffs left by an ancient sea. A capital raised from empty steppe. Silk Road, tombs older than most European cathedrals. The birthplace of apples, the launch pad to space. From the mountains of Almaty to the moonscapes of Mangistar, this is Kazakhstan. Almaty sprawls across the northern foothills of the Trans-Ilialatau, a wall of peaks that rises sharply behind the city's southern edge. From above, the contrast is immediate. All wide highways carry streams of traffic between clusters of high-rises and beyond the last apartment blocks. Snow-capped ridges cut into the sky. The city sits between 700 and 900 metres in elevation. It is the largest in Kazakhstan, home to over 2 million people, and until 1997, it served as the capital. A river threads through the centre, its banks lined with pathways and flanked by towers of glass and concrete. Near the old town, a pink geometric square opens up around a fountain, ringed by Soviet-era facades. Nearby stands the Ascension Cathedral, a Russian Orthodox church with bright, multicoloured domes set in a park of old trees. The building survived a devastating earthquake in 1911, one of the tallest wooden structures ever raised, assembled entirely with interlocking joints and no nails. Higher up, on a forested hill overlooking the city, the television tower marks the skyline like a grey needle. Beside it, a Ferris wheel turns slowly above the canopy. From the summit of Koktob, the full scale of Almaty becomes visible. Blocks of residential towers giving way to green belts, then foothills, then ice. The name Almaty comes from Alma, the Kazakh word for apple. This is not a coincidence. Genetic research has confirmed that all modern domestic apples trace their origin to wild Malus cerevisiae trees, growing in the Tian Shan Mountains just south of the city. Every domestic apple on Earth traces its ancestry to wild trees that still grow in these very hills. In the lower city, the Opera and Ballet Theatre sits among autumn trees, its classical columns catching the late afternoon light. Nearby, the statue of Abay Kunanbayuli, poet and philosopher, stands alone against an open sky. Traffic moves steadily through the avenues below. Almaty does not demand attention the way a capital does. It earns it slowly, one street, one square, one ridgeline at a time. South of Almaty, a mountain road climbs through a forested pass where the leaves turn red and orange in autumn. The route winds upward through the Trans-Ili Alatau, gaining elevation quickly. Within 30 minutes of the city centre, the landscape shifts from urban sprawl to alpine wilderness. At 1,691 metres, Mediu skating rink sits in a narrow valley between forested slopes. It is the highest outdoor Olympic-sized rink in the world, fed by glacial water that freezes into an unusually smooth surface. Soviet coaches noticed early on that skaters here consistently outperformed those training in Siberia. The thinner air at altitude meant less resistance, and the ice itself was faster. Over 170 world speed skating records have been set on this surface. Above Mediu, a dam spans the gorge, built to shield the city from mud flows that have struck before. Beyond it, the road continues to Shimbulak, a ski resort at 2,200 metres, where gondola cars ascend through dense stands of pine. In winter, the slopes fill with skiers. In summer, the same trails lead into high meadows ringed by jagged peaks and glacial ice. Higher still, where the trails narrow and the tree line gives way to rock, Big Almaty Lake fills a basin between snow-covered ridges. The water is turquoise, fed by glacial melt, and its colour shifts with the seasons. Our hikers who reach the shore find a stillness that feels older than the mountains around it. Back in the valleys below, rows of orchard trees stretch across the foothills, backed by distant peaks. These are not ordinary farms. Wild apple forests, the last of their kind anywhere on Earth, still grow in the Tian Shan near Almaty. Each tree is genetically unique, a living gene bank. Nikolai Vavilov, the Soviet botanist who first traced the origin of all domestic apples to this region, never saw his work honoured in his lifetime. He died of starvation in a Soviet prison, a man who had spent his career trying to feed the world. East of Almaty, the road climbs through a mountain valley thick with autumn colour. Deciduous trees turn orange and red along the slopes, while dark conifers hold their green between them. A river cuts through the forest below, its water clear and fast over smooth rocks. Vehicles move slowly along the winding route, the pavement narrowing as the elevation rises. The Kolsai Lakes sit stacked in the northern Tian Shan at elevations between 1,800 and 2,800 metres.